guys, my name is Attorney Walter Knott. I wanted to go ahead and explain something really quickly because somebody reached out to me and said, I don't understand how you're disabled and you're able to go ahead and do all these things, such as making these YouTube videos, running a law firm, etc., going to court, doing hearings, etc. So, yeah, I am a registered person as a disabled individual because when I was a child, I was younger. I was still a child. I was building a fort made out of rocks on the beach in Maine, and unfortunately, when this was all happening, I was a very strong child. I was able to move one of these boulders and push up against it, and it was so heavy that I wasn't able to go ahead and control it, and then basically it rolled down on my hand there after crushing among my hand, the middle finger on my right hand most specifically, which means I don't have the same abilities as a lot of people to go ahead and type, especially for anything longer than a couple of minutes without a lot of problems. My hand used to go ahead and begin bleeding because the cuticle area where they had to do the surgery to go ahead and connect everything and put the nail back, and putting it very quickly because I don't want to spend a lot of time on this video, is the bottom line is when I rip my hand out in attempt to go ahead and relieve myself of the pain when the boulder fell on my hand, I put my foot on the boulder and I ripped my hand out, and it obviously, the nail was hanging, and it was not a great situation because we were 2 hours away from any real hospital in Maine, in Acadia, Maine. I'm sorry, not in Acadia, Maine. It was across the water from the Acadia area, Korea, Maine. And the kicker was that as a result of that, I had a lot of pain in my hand. I still do today. Things that I did, which I cannot recommend because I'm not a MD, I'm a JD. I'm not a medical doctor, I'm a Juris Doctorate. So the point is, I would soak my hand in vinegar, which would lessen a lot of the nerves that were in my hand. But for a long time, and it gets worse during storm times, obviously, and stuff like that, I had to use a lot of things that would go ahead and reduce the amount of pain that would be directly in that area. And unfortunately, the medication is really expensive now. They have special numbing pads, etc., and I would use all these things. I would even use restrictive gloves and things like that to go ahead and reduce the pain, create pressure, etc. So as a result of that, the person was asking, like, what's your deal? And I think a lot of people get grumpy when people ask them, like, what's their deal? Especially for the mental side of things. When people have, like, anxiety, depression, PTSD, those types of impairments, people don't always like to go into detail about them unless they have accepted them and affirmed that they are an amazing person with them. Not in spite of them, but with them. And so one of the things I wanted to point out was that I think a lot of people nowadays are living a healthier disability-oriented life because the way they view it is not so much a limiting factor. And sure, it gets more difficult with the more severe impairments that you have, to have that mindset. But I knew from a young age I was not going to be able to compete with people who were able to type for an extensive period because I get a lot of pain, and then I wouldn't be thinking about anything but what the heck's going on with my hand. And you've probably seen in other videos, I'm not going to show you right now, but my right hand is deformed, and they did their surgery and they did their corrective stuff, and the bottom line is there's only so much you can do. So as a result of that, I don't have a normal right hand, which is totally fine. Look at all the things that have been accomplished by this person who can do all these things to help people. And that's one of the big things that I'd like to work into the Social Security Administration system, is kind of like a merit increased benefits or increased options, or some sort of system where if there are disabled people out there that can, beyond just the Ticket to Work program, that can do great things for other people, donate time in unique ways to help people, that there's ways to essentially boost the benefits that they can receive, whether it be financial or whatever. And I do not know exactly how that will come down or what options there are. I started a list, it's got like 20 things on it, but the bottom line, that's how everything starts with me. You get a list, then you start to make bullet points out of it, subcategories on the bullet points. Then all of a sudden you're looking at this pamphlet, and then you get a book, and then all of a sudden you've got an idea, and you write a bill, and then all of a sudden you get a bill, you send it off to the, politicians, and then it dies, and you never hear about it. The point is this, guys. A lot of people think that disabled people are completely incapable because of a mindset issue. And that's not true. Most disabled people that I meet are inspirational. They are just not just survival in the sense of this happened to me, here's where I'm going, but in the sense of they want to innovate something. And they really don't let their impairment define who they are. And I know that's tougher the more severe, the more extreme the impairment is. But I just wanted to say thank you to all of you guys for being amazing human beings with the power of mental inspiration for others. You know, you always hear these jokes of like, you know, well, I was struggling to do that, but then, you know, I was struggling to learn to play the guitar, but then I just saw a guy who only has one arm, you know, or I was struggling to learn how to lift weights, but, you know, that person has an impairment where they can only use one leg, or, you know, whatever it is, you know, the most common version of that was inspirational for me. That moment where a person who lives a relatively normal life because of, you know, a lack of blind mental or physical impairments, seeing that and inspiring them, that is a glimpse, a tiny little bit of a chemical reaction in their brain compared to the immense electrifying moment. I hear Sweetie's tearing something up over there. The immense electrifying moment of essentially impaired people doing what in life they're meant to do. And I know some people look at that as a negative because they're like, well, why should that disabled person be able to do what they love to do? They should be suffering in order to receive benefits, blah, blah, blah. I totally disagree. I think that if somebody's unable to work and they're on Social Security disability benefits, I think the point should be, how do they live the full extent of their abilities, right? How do they live the full bright light of their life? And I think that is something we as a nation need to strive towards. And I think it's something that we need to promote, because at the end of the day, there's always good examples proving to be good examples of what you shouldn't do, etc. In the long term of ethical and moral conduct among those individuals who are looking at disabled people, there's a couple of things you should know. When it comes to a disabled person, usually they're okay with talking about their impairment so long as they have accepted what it is, they have an education as to how it works, and they want others to be educated on it as well. A lot of people are like, oh, that's a lot of stuff. The truth is it's not. A lot of disabled people have gone through those steps. Another thing that's really important, when you are interacting with a disabled person, you see that they might have a difficult time with something, don't be weird. Don't be weird. Ask them if they need assistance with reaching something if they're in a wheelchair. Ask them if they need help with something, because the easiest thing for them to do is to say, oh no, I'm fine. And that's inspirational for them. That's like a little boost. Some people take it as an offense, like, oh, I can do it on my own. But that's very limited, extremely limited in the disabled community. Most people are like, no, I got this. I'm good. Watch me do it. And that's inspiring for them. The thing about disabled individuals is that you can be whatever you want around them. You don't have to be special around them. But the only thing I always ask people to do is be considerate and helpful. Whatever in that situation seems like that, usually a disabled person will not judge you in a negative way for giving a damn. That's the bottom line, right? That's the bottom line. If you care and want to help, they're for it. Almost always. Sometimes it's something where you can't get through that bubble. They're having a PTSD meltdown and they're trying to be suicidal and you don't know what to do, they don't know what to do, etc. And then professionals have to go to their assistance. But you should probably know to some degree when that's occurring, when you can step in and help, and when you need to stand back and let professionals assist that person. All right. I just wanted to talk about something that I'm registered with the ADA with. I just want you to understand specifically that this is not something that I use to define my work. That's why my channel is not about, oh, there's Sweetie, I'm sure battling with Shadow right now. And she's also wet. She just came out of the pool. But the point is this, it's not something I use my channel to define myself as. Somebody asked about it and they were like, oh, no, you know, whoever you are in the real world, the person that asked, have peace that it doesn't matter whether or not I am disabled or have something that slows me down or whatever, look at where we're at. Look at all the content that's been made. Over 3,000 videos. A chubby dog to my left who's very adorable and kind of needy all the time and hungry, and she's going to start barking at me, so I'm going to end this video. Guys, have an absolutely wonderful day. I'll catch you a little bit later. Attorney Walter Knott. Every Thursday, donate 2 hours, 8 to 10 p.m. to answer any questions related to Social Security disability benefits. We go live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name, and we can always answer a question or run hearing questions. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.